Last year, the Reserve Gang of New Zealand dictated that around 70,000 people must lose their jobs to fight inflation. The argument is that if more of us are unemployed, our desperation will force us to accept lower wages. And if employers can pay us lower wages, they'll lower the price of their products. Classic trickle-down mythology. Inflation is predominantly caused by the owner class raising their prices. That's why landlords, energy companies, supermarkets, slaughterhouses, fertilizer companies, and banks are all making massive profits at the moment. So how do they justify forcing job losses to tackle this profiteering? Well, mostly the topic is avoided. But when it is covered, we hear from people like the chief economist from ANZ. She called the forced loss of tens of thousands of jobs a comms challenge for the Reserve Gang. Meanwhile, a guy whose job title is Head of Private Wealth explains you've got to cause some pain. You've got to create some unemployment. Who does this capitalist insist must feel some pain? Well, most job losses are projected to affect workers in construction and hospitality. So, because corporations keep raising their prices and profits, these low-wage earners must lose their jobs. It's an absolute war on the working class. The Council of Trade Unions, or CTU, represents over 320,000 workers, and they called this out. The Herald framed this as one economist thinks there's another way. Well, this one economist stated the obvious, that if our government really wanted to bring prices down, they should go after those that sell us our food, rent, electricity, banking, and transport. He made suggestions like bringing power generators into full public ownership, giving first home buyers fixed mortgage rates, and giving a tax-free threshold on the first part of our incomes, like Australia. Reasonable and common sense responses to corporate extortion. And how does Luxon speak about the Council of Trade Unions, one of the only voices of reason amongst a sea of capitalist propaganda?
Look, Chris is a bit bent out of shape because actually the Labour Party and the CTU used to actually support working people. I support working people. I want hard-working, lower middle-income Kiwis to get tax relief to deal with the cost of living crisis.
By making their wages grow.
The idea that Luxon, whose party is funded by billionaires and millionaires, supports working people is an absolute joke. I trust the CTU, who are calling out forced job losses, over National, which is proposing we sanction and cut benefits to those forced into unemployment. I trust the CTU's judgment that National would make things even worse for workers. But the truth is, neither National nor Labour are offering a real solution to inflation. Tax cuts and wage hikes will ultimately mean nothing if we don't stop landlords and corporations from having complete control over the cost of our survival.